About ambushes suffered by the military. What do we blame for this?
What do we blame for the ambush?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting you.
I'm talking about the ambushes suffered by the military. What do we blame for this?
Well, usually there could be a lot of reasons. I've just been talking about the issue of people, giving out information or disposition of the security, our military and security forces among the communities. And I have cited an example of a particular individual that was so eager to break the news, alleging that the bandits, brought down an aircraft, as if he was there or as if they planned the attack with him and so on. So basically that is it. And I have made mention of the fact that there is war economy. War economy, it includes informants, people that, give out information either knowingly or unknowingly to these criminal elements. And I can tell you, one of the things that was shocking to me when I was deployed in the Northeast way back in 2014, when we flew in from Yola at Maiduguri International Airport. That time it was only, the military that flew in and out of Maiduguri. And I saw someone, being questioned. And I was wondering why. And of course, the next thing was that individual, his job, he was a Boko Haram member, that his job, he had been stationed at the airport. His job was to report, arrival or takeoff of military aircraft so that he can warn. And of course, in most instances, even in the Northeast Northwest and North Central, in most instances, they have even nicknames for some of the military, columns and equipment. By the time they mention Konkuru, definitely it must be either an APC or an RPG. And APC or EMRA. So the criminal elements are being warned about that, and they are being assisted with such information, to plan against the military. And in these instances, they tend to, deceive them. If, for instance, there is an attack towards the eastern part, then you will receive another call that it was in the western part. And by the time you are trying to respond, actually they are either in the southern or, in northern flank. So that is what has always been happening. And unfortunately, all these things are happening with the knowing or tacit approval of some unscrupulous elements in the society. So you can blame it on a lot of factors. And of course, if you are planning for ambush, you have to be in a vantage position. You have to look at a position where you are supposedly adversary is in a weaker position to respond. Possibly, you select a terrain that is not attainable, and even if you ambushed him, he or she might not be able to escape. There are so many other things, killing zone, and I don't want to go into the details. But for this one, I cannot say precisely unless we await the outcome of the investigation, which I'm sure will be made known in due course to know exactly what happened. But I think the most important thing here, we should be in the state of mourning, having lost these precious lives. May their soul continue to rest in peace, and encourage and support their families, so that they can bear this irreparable loss with so much fortitude and, bearing in mind that they did not die in vain. They died in the course of defending the territorial integrity of this country, in the course of defending humanity to ensure that we live in peace and, in peace in this country. So basically that's what should be occupying us. But of course, the military and the security forces and the authorities should be concerned actually in investigating and unraveling the circumstances that brought that, so that lessons are learned, so that we can avoid future reoccurrence. But most importantly, there should be constructive engagement of the society, particularly the host community where these criminal elements hibernate.
So talking about avoiding future recurrence, this resurgence of attacks in Niger State have been blamed by the governor on illegal mining. Why is this brewing so much violence?
Well, if you look at it, it is not just Niger State. Even in Zamfara State, with the discovery of the gold deposit, you can see the conflicts have been protracted. And simply because there are certain vested interests, including foreigners, And unless we look at it critically and ensure that we sanitize the mining of these precious mineral resources, we'll continue to have problems. And why? Because people look at it as a means of livelihood, but it is not even that. There are some people that are taking and do advantage of it, particularly foreigners, arming groups, and so the conflict is ongoing. And we need to address it as part of addressing the root causes of these security challenges being experienced. But most importantly, I always say that we should improve also in the issue of good governance. Let's look at all the security challenges. They are happening in a particular community, in a particular local government, in a particular state. Is the local government system working? So bulk of the security challenges, when they happen, it is either the state or the federal government that is to be blamed. What happened to the local government? So I call on the state governors, especially that we have newly elected ones, they should please ensure that the local government system is up and doing by ensuring its autonomy. So that some of the security challenges that are local, they can easily be dealt with without taking them to, lumping them on the state government, and the state government that is always overwhelmed, calling on the federal government. And of course, the federal government in itself is being overstretched, because you cannot pretend all the, nook and crisis of this country. So the people need to give a helping hand. And they cannot do that if the local government is not working optimally.
So a new administration is in place, and of course the country cannot afford to be having this kind of killings. What do you think should be done to address this head on?
Well, I have just mentioned one aspect, the issue of the local government. Of course, you have to look at the issue of, one of the staying powers of the Nigerian society. Even though they kept on saying they are trying to remove population as among the indices of, national power. But the most important thing is the human resources that God has blessed us with. To what extent are we effectively utilizing these human resources? That's the big question. And more so, if you look at the total population of Nigeria, assumingly 200 million, out of that 200 million, almost 65 or to 72%, they are all youth. To what extent have you constructively, engaged the youth so that they can, contributing to national development positively? And if you look at the statistics also, bulk of the security challenges, are being perpetrated by the younger ones in the society, simply because of some reasons. Agreed, you cannot give an excuse for a criminal, because I'm yet to see a retired thief that he said, oh, I have done this, so let me retire today. Oh, I have been deprived, let me go and steal so that I can set up a legitimate business. I haven't seen. So a criminal is always a criminal. Yes, but that notwithstanding, we should create an enabling environment in which we will engage our teeming population, particularly the younger ones. We are living in very difficult times, where families are finding it very difficult to take care of their loved ones. So definitely moral values and standards are being compromised. People are getting into crimes and what have you. So let us address these socio-economic challenges and then improve in good governance, create employment opportunities, and at the same time, make sure that Nigerians are properly sensitized on the importance of contributing the best to ensure that Nigeria is a secure society. It might not necessarily that you go into, you take up employment in the armed forces. No, even an average citizen, by seeing something and saying something, by reporting things to the appropriate authorities, and by you living up to standard of an average citizen, because it is not just enough to enjoy the privileges of being a citizen, there are also associated responsibilities and civic duties. So these are the issues. But of course, the government has to take a leading role in some of these things. And we hope and pray that these issues will be addressed so that we can be able to, we should not be able to have those who are involved in criminality will not have any excuses. Just like the police used to say, do not encourage the criminals. So we should not encourage those with low moral standard to be involved into this kind of thing, or people should lure them in. And I can also give you an example. We are talking about the local government system earlier on. Quite a number of people, what they need actually is not even much. Somewhere where I came from, 50,000 naira is more than enough to set someone to start a business, legitimate one that he can take care of his family. But unfortunately, where do you get the 50,000 naira? If you want to go to bank for a loan, the interest rate is very high. And in fact, there are people that, will take and do advantage of these people. Particularly the bandits, they buy tricycles, they buy motorcycles, and at the same time, in return for certain things like information and what have you, even set people up in business. And the government should come into play so that such people that need such things are given, without, the criminal elements inducing them, to commit untoward things. So there are so many things. Improving good governance, ensuring the local government system work, creating an enabling environment where there is justice. An average person who is, well, so to speak, that an average person will have a greater sense of belonging. If anybody touches him, he has a recourse to the arbiter, which is the judiciary. So, strengthening the institutions also is equally very important, alongside all those things that I've mentioned, and there are so many more.
Thank you so much, General. I've been speaking with a strategic communications expert and former Director of Public Relations, Nigerian Army, retired Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka. Thank you so much for your perspectives on the program tonight. Thank you so much, sir.